tits, bitch.
Hello, fiends and fiendettes. Welcome to the movie review portion of the best horror podcast on 7voltmedia.com and the world, Scream Fiends. It's been a long time since we've gotten one of these out to you. So we've decided to gift you with not one, but two movies of the week.
Because this is the second movie. He could be summed up in about 10 minutes.
Yes. But we'll get to it. We'll do that. Do you want to do that one first or that one last?
Let's do it first because it's 10 minutes. I don't know how it's possibly it could go longer.
All right. Get at us on Twitter at Scream Fiends. Let us know what you thought of these movies, what you thought of what we think of these movies. That's all. I mean, we have some great opinions here on this show.
Yeah.
And we are never wrong. So
Never.
yes.
Everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
So first up, we have
Headhunter.
2019's The Headhunter.
Yep. And that's it. So next we watch. No, seriously. That's it. It's a guy that hunts heads.
Yeah. It's starring Christopher Rigg
I don't know how to
as father, Cora Kaufman as daughter. It was written by Kevin Stewart and Jordan Downey and directed by Jordan Downey. Now, Jordan Downey, he's directed a couple of movies that, well, at least one movie that is near and dear to this show's heart. If you listen to the podcast, if you saw that intro there to each one of our episodes, you know where that comes from. That comes from a Jordan Downey joint.
Jordan
a little film called Thanksgiving, and he got together with this Kevin Stewart, who also was the director of photography on this movie.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the director of that movie, Photography. What's that?
Oh, is that the one with Robin Williams? No, that's 1 Hour Photo.
1 Hour Photo.
Yeah.
Oh, that movie is fucking weird. I don't ever want to see him be a bad guy ever again.
I don't know what I was expecting when I watched that movie, but I don't know. I liked Robin Williams, as I think everyone does, but
not after that movie.
No.
Well, because I thought it was going to be him discovering some kind of plot or something. Nope, he's just a creep.
It's a super dark movie, and
he does a very good job.
Yeah, he's great in it.
He's great.
It's kind of like Death to Smoochie. You ever see that?
Yeah, I did. I liked it.
That movie wasn't nearly as good as 1 Hour Photo, but yeah, he's less comedic.
Have you ever seen his stand-up?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a little dirty.
Yeah.
He's got some dirty jokes.
Yeah, so this movie starts out. First of all, this movie was made for $30,000. That was the budget.
It looks like it. It's shot well. It honestly is. It's shot well. It's just that the camera quality of it just looks like there's just something off about it. Like, you can tell, even though it's in the wilderness, you can tell it's in a modern time. I don't know what it is about it. It just feels like this guy is in some dude's backyard.
I didn't get that
Minnesota.
feeling at all.
Okay.
But
I just it's just maybe the way the colors with the TV. It's just that's in some farmer's backyard. You know.
No, there's some really beautiful aerial shots that I assume they did with a drone. With $30,000, I doubt they got a helicopter up there. Maybe they knew someone that had a helicopter or
maybe
something. But I have a feeling it was just a drone up there with an HD camera.
Yeah.
But
so basically, what happens is there's a guy and he's sitting. Then he hears something. Then you hear him, and then he walks over to it. You hear crunching wet sounds.
Yeah, he's got this like
Like a
line
line.
out with a bunch of bones on it that rustle, so he knows.
Yeah. Then they click and
Danger
clack, and he's
is
like,
out
"Oh,
there."
somebody's coming."
Yep.
So you hear crunchy squish. Then he comes back and he says to his daughter, "Everything's gonna be okay."
Yeah, he's got this young daughter.
But everything's not gonna be okay.
He gets a pelt for her, and his hands are all bloody. So it's implied that he just killed
Something. And then then what? It's explained that the monster ends up getting a monster ends up getting her anyways.
Yep, daughter is killed.
And so here's the rest of the movie. It's him going about his daily business where he gets ready to fight things and he makes up some kind of weird peanut butter and then he fights things. He comes back, he rubs the peanut butter on his cuts. The cuts heal.
So wait.
No,
you're going way too fast through this.
There's nothing I've missed.
No, you've missed plenty. So you gradually, first of all, you don't really know like what he's doing.
He's playing The Witcher.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about that too, but yeah, you can tell that he's like going out on these hunts or whatever. First, all you get is you hear this like horn in the distance.
Yep.
And then he goes out, he comes back with a head that he shoves on a stake on his wall.
Yep. He's got a whole collection of them.
Yep.
Here's my problem.
But, okay, so getting into that goop, he has some sort of carcass that he has a rope tied around and he tosses into the river,
And it sits in there.
pulls it out, and he takes something out of it.
Bones out of it or something.
Yeah.
So
and
I
puts
wonder,
that in.
I wonder if this spell shit that he does in this is related to some old like folktale somewhere. That'd be kind of interesting to look into.
Oh, possibly.
But basically, yeah, he makes the peanut butter right with these bones, and he grabs things, and then he locks it up. Then he goes and visits his daughter's grave.
Yep.
And he says, "They told me that these arrows take your soul to heaven, so I don't know about any of that." But here you
He's
go.
got this arrowhead. Yeah.
So, but anyways, and then the rest of the movie is him like going on these hunts with a brief interlude of him getting ready to fix a window that keeps clattering, which comes into play later.
Yeah, he's always in the process of like sawing a board to fix this window.
But he never gets it done.
No.
Well, he gets his last horn because literally it's
because eventually we find out that the horn is this castle. He lives relatively, fairly close to this castle.
And they shoot arrows with messages of like the pictures of the monsters. And so this last one.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you, do you think he's sort of an outcast? Because they don't seem to want to get near him. Like, you see the dude that's shooting the arrow. Like, why shoot the arrow when he could just, like,
I don't
go
know.
up to them?
That could be some... Because, like, remember in Monty Python where they shoot the arrow with messages and it keeps hitting the guy's, like, assistant? He goes, "Oh, I'll be fine. I'll just rest here."
Yeah.
He's got arrows in him and stuff, but I don't know what that's about. Maybe he is an outcast or, whatever. Like, he could be... I don't know. It's... I got the same feeling, though, like he's some kind of outcast. But he gets this arrow, and he goes to his daughter's grave and says, "It's come back. Our revengeance is near." Then he goes out, and he crawls into a hole and fights this thing and wins and brings the head back. But he's got his face all fucked up or something, so he puts his peanut butter on. But he doesn't, he puts the peanut butter on a windowsill or some shit, and then the window that was clattering knocks the shit off. It gets poured on the head of that thing. Then it brings his daughter back. Then he's got to kill his daughter, which we don't see him do. We just see him rebury her. But then the thing comes back anyways and kills him. And then
okay, come on.
It's just all right.
So,
lay it on me. What you think?
So he finally gets the message where it's the monster that he's been waiting for to come back. And so he goes out and he comes across this like skeleton that I don't know if it was a fellow hunter or something, but he camps by that, and then he's like, well,
what got you?
Was it a troll? It's too far north for a troll. But then he looks over and there's this giant troll, and he's like, maybe it was a troll. And that's actually pretty much the only time you actually see like a monster or anything. Yeah. Somewhat. But I mean, more than any other creature.
Look, every time he goes out to fight, it's just him leaving, then him coming back with a head.
Yeah.
And then he puts the head on his wall, and every head looks like he bought it at Halloween Express.
Yeah. Did we even go over how he puts the goop on himself, on his wounds,
yep.
and
he rubs
heals
peanut
him?
butter on himself and he feels better.
Yeah.
I said that.
Okay. So he finally kills the monster he's been searching for, chops his head off, tosses the head over next to the wall. The goop gets knocked over by the window that he was trying to fix but never did. And it reanimates the head, which also has a spine attached to it. And so it's like this weird, like, reminds me of like the flying Medusa heads in Castlevania.
Sure.
For some reason.
And it's rolling around.
Yep, well, crawling around. And to me, I feel like this guy is pretty bad at monster hunting if he can't find a head that's crawling around on the ground. But
he tries.
And he
screams, "Don't you fucking touch her!"
Yeah, so the head ends up digging up his daughter's grave and attaching itself, like shoving its spine into the skeleton of his daughter. And so now it's got his daughter's skeleton body. He fights it in a cave, ends up ripping the spine out of his daughter, which I thought was like the best scene in the movie, because it just, the sounds and the way he's like pulling the head out, super effective. So yeah, he gets the spine out and ends up stabbing the thing in the head a bunch of times. Takes it back, just leaves it on the ground, hits it with an axe a few times, and reburies his daughter. And then you're just, it's like a shot from inside the cabin.
Yep, and you hear the sawing again, and then you hear, and then you see him walking again.
Yep.
But you can tell there's something different.
And then it shows the stake on the wall, and shoves the head onto the stake.
And then when the body moves away, it's his head.
Yep.
And then you see the monster, and it's like, this is my body.
Yeah.
And then he leaves.
Yep. I think that's literally what he says.
Yeah.
This is my body.
My body. This my body.
Mm. And that's the movie. It's a short hour, 10-minute.
Yep.
So I don't know how do you judge? Do you think a movie should be judged differently because it was made for $30,000 versus a movie that was made for $30 million?
No.
Judge it the same?
Yeah, because the but the Paranormal Activity movies are garbage. Cool Ass Smith's Rod Trek is awesome.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
So this movie, I think that there are some cool scenes and neat parts of it, but on the whole, it was a movie about a guy and they didn't show him fight anything. You don't see any monsters. You just see some random mask stuffed with cabbage and blood packets get shoved on a stake, and that's that. You know, there are some great like effects. So like his arm wounds and his the wounds on his face, like the makeup on this is awesome. But those heads were terrible. Like those like monster heads.
Well, they had the rubber mask shake when he shoved them on the on the stakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and so like
they looked pretty good.
Yeah, so
but that
I wonder if there's a movie called, I think it's called Valhalla with Mads Mikkelsen, where it's very, very minimalistic like this, but it's better, and it's about.
Yeah, I feel like this movie would have made a better short film, like maybe make it. I don't know, half hour
like
maybe.
3 or 4 monsters, but you don't see him do anything. You just see him go out, come back wounded, drop a head on the floor, rub peanut butter on himself, and then it goes right back to the same shit.
I almost wonder if it was intentionally done that way to sort of show the repetition of his life, like that's what his life was, going out and hunting monsters, because they made a point of showing like all the arrows that were stuck in the ground of like previous monsters, and obviously he had collected an assortment of heads. So I don't know, but
that's fine. I agree. I think that's actually a good point. And I'm willing to forgive them for that. Like, it's cool that way when you put it like that. It's like it's. We think this Monster Hunter thing would be cool, but it's showing you, for him, it's just this mundane thing he does and waiting for his chance to get revenge for his daughter.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. I think that's a good point. There should have been a better battle at the end. Like, you finally get to see a monster actually at the end.
Yeah.
You know, there should have been some kind of like reward for sitting through his boring fucking life. You know what I mean? But
the ending, I thought, was a little bit cheesy. Yeah. Just a little bit. It was like it had this serious tone, and it was taking itself so seriously, and then at the end it was like, oh, this guy made Thanksgiving, and it shows.
Right. That's right, he did. You know, and so maybe that's the point. Maybe he did that on purpose. I don't know, but I just think there's a lot unexplored there in the story.
Yeah, that
it just kind of felt lacking altogether, story wise and whatnot. But like the cinematography, the looks, everything was fine there that way. I thought it looked great. I don't think there was any special effects. I think it was all real. Like,
oh well, the giant troll.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if it was CGI, but it was at the very least green screened.
Yeah. For sure. And but like for the most part, everything looked good. Like that makeup was good. The sound, like the music and stuff, was great. You know, like the sweeping shots and stuff, like to try to catch the mood. Like it was like the first like couple minutes was really good, but as you kind of get into like that camera quality, like what I felt like his armor and stuff, it just looked too video gamey to me, too clean, too video gamey for me. I would have preferred that to be dialed back a bit.
His mask, helmet, whatever you want to call it, I thought that was super cool.
Yep.
So really well designed.
Sure. So I'd like to see him get a bigger budget to maybe explore, like get into the monsters. That he's hunting.
that's brings me back to your Witcher comment, whereas like if you wanted a serious serious in tone adaptation of The Witcher, like this is it. Like, this was basically, the dude was a witcher. He didn't have, like, magic spells or anything, but he had the magic goop, so obviously he knew some sort of, like, alchemy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was the Witcher. Like, the town hired him...
to hunt monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, like, I think I like this character more than Geralt.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, so, like... Yeah. Kudos, like, so basically, I just wish this had $30 million to make. It would have been kind of cool to see them like get into these monsters. I don't know if he had any ideas for monsters, just like, or if it was more a character thing about this guy. But it just felt like there's so much under like there's so much, there was nothing to discover about him. It didn't need to take 70 minutes to show me that this guy's bored and he's depressed, waiting for his chance. Like. This, I think it would have been a better short film, honestly.
And we haven't seen anything of the Netflix's Witcher series, but
it looks fucking dumb.
Just those images we've gotten of Henry Cavill, my hopes aren't very high for that one. But if you wanted a proof of concept of a Witcher movie or series, like, I would go to these guys because
because I agree, because like, especially when they did a good job of like creating this kind of like solitudeness with it. There was a solitude. I don't know what the word I'm trying to say is, but like it felt lonely there.
Yeah.
When he was by himself doing that thing, they captured that very well. So I think, like, I know I'm critical, but I think there's some very successful points to this movie. And like you said, it only had $30,000. So I think maybe sometimes you can say, well, they only had $30,000 to do what they did.
Yeah.
And what they did with the $30,000 was good. I just feel like I wish that we could have explored some. I'm interested in the story, but you didn't get much of like the lore around it.
Right.
Maybe it doesn't need it, but I really wish I could have known more, or seen him fight something, or he goes to fight a werewolf and he comes back with scratches, like, okay, but you could have stopped. We get he's fighting monsters, but like you could have,
they could have done more of like, how did he learn to make this magical goop, rejuvenating goop, like that entire story.
It kind of like the monotonous of all that stuff kind of reminded me of the Vivitch a little bit.
Oh yeah,
where they're just kind of sitting in the woods, not doing anything, and like at least this one had monsters. So I mean, I'll just say right now, I would rather watch this than the Witch.
Oh, for sure.
By leaps and bounds, like this movie gets a platinum in comparison to the Vivitch, but like it just felt like the nothing happening went on longer than it needed to, but I will commend them on what they tried to do, though. It was what they did. They did a good job with what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
I just wanted more. So I don't think it's bad. I think it left me wanting more.
Which is not a bad thing.
No.
Yeah. So what is your rating?
Definitely better than the Vivitch. And its overall quality is why I'll bump it to a bronze when I think about it. The story keeps it from getting anything higher just because it was a little too lacking. There's no context whatsoever in what's going on, really. I mean, you have context for him, but nothing else. And then like they don't explain anything. It's just he disappears, comes back with a head, disappears, comes back with a head, disappears, comes back with a head.
Yep.
And so like I get it, but it's like nothing happens, and nothing happens for a lot longer than it needed to.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
I mean, they could have shortened that to a quick what do you call those when you montage? Which is kind of almost what it was, but just a higher quality camera shots and stuff like that.
Yeah, and extended scenes. Yeah,
no, but I still think like people should check it out because I think this could be very more impactful for some other people.
Yeah,
but I mean, I'm coming off of playing like.
Well, yeah, the people that liked The Witch, the Vivitch,
they'll love it.
Oh, yeah.
They'll love it. See, and I'm coming off because I saw the screenshot of it and said, this looks soulsy. It's called Headhunter. I need to see this. So I was coming into it, I think, with a different idea anyway. So I think that tainted, like if I had come into it not knowing at all what it was, I think I actually would have enjoyed it more. But because I'm looking for lore in this movie that doesn't need it, I think it's tainting my outlook on it. So I think that I would give it a bronze because I think that my opinion's a slight bit off because of what I was hoping it was, and I don't think that's really a fair assessment. So I'm going to give it a bronze because of that.
What do you think about this? And I liked this aspect of it. It's called the Headhunter, and he hunts monsters and takes their heads, but eventually he is literally hunting a head, like a specific head. The Headhunter.
Oh, kind of looks like a double entendre.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I will also give it a bronze. Seal of approval.
Yep, seal of approval.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely check this movie out for sure.
Much better than the Vivitch.
Oh my God, so much better than
I agree 100% with that. Always happy to knock the Vivitch down a peg or two.
It's resting on one peg, and that is Martyr's Remake. So.
Yeah. Martyr's Remake is the low rung on the ladder.
Like,
so
the Vivitch is terribly boring, but the Martyrs remake is just that's a bastardization of something that I love.
It's just a terrible, terrible.
I don't ascribe to that. Like, oh, that just ruins my childhood. The remake. All
Yeah,
these Star Wars prequels ruins my childhood.
Right.
The Martyrs American remake ruins Martyrs for me. I mean, I can still enjoy Martyrs, but this is as close as I'll ever get to that feeling where something ruins something for me.
Yeah.
Is the Martyrs remake. This is why that will always be lowest rung for me. Oh, that movie sucks. But,
yeah, I don't even have that like negative feeling with the Child's Play remake.
Yeah.
I'm not like, oh, this movie is gonna like
destroy the whole series.
This is gonna be a crap movie just because it's remake of this classic. No, like it. I don't really have high hopes for it just because it doesn't look that great. But yeah, for sure, the Martyrs remake is just a whole nother level of awful. So
yeah, Browns seal of approval. Check it out.
Agree.
All right.
Next up, we've got a remake in itself.
Yep.
2019's Pet Sematary with an S.
Spelled incorrectly.
This movie is starring Jason Clarke as Lewis, Amy Seimetz as Rachel, John Lithgow as Judd, Jete Lawrence as Ellie. We got one of those, they got the twins because child labor laws or some crap. Hugo and Lucas Lavoie as Gage Lewis. Absa Ahmed as Victor Paxcow. And Alyssa Levine as Zelda. It was written by Matt Greenberg and Jeff Bueller. And directed by Kevin Kolsch and Dennis Widmeyer, who their claim to fame is that movie Starry Eyes. I don't know if you ever saw that movie. Pretty decent flick. Another one of those highly hyped up movies that turns out to not be that great. Kind of like a lot of movies we've mentioned on this movie review portion of this episode. But yeah, just like The Vavitch is a very hyped up movie.
This movie was very hyped up.
No, not this movie. Starry Eyes.
Oh, Starry Eyes is really hyped up.
The movie that these fine gentlemen directed before this one.
Didn't see it. This movie was also very hyped up.
Because it's Pet Sematary, the Stephen King classic novel and previous adaptation.
Let's do it.
All right, so we're actually planning on doing this review a couple weeks back now. It's been a couple weeks since we saw this movie. And the man upstairs went with us. Mm-hmm. He was going to do it with us, but he is in the process of unburdening, so he couldn't make it.
Yeah, and he read the book, and you read the book.
I burned through that sucker in 2 days, day and a half.
Holy.
Just burned right through it. So yeah,
real quick,
as we go through, I'll kind of. Or maybe we'll do it at the end. Maybe as we go through the movie.
Maybe as we go, like if something happens in the movie you think is better than the book, or vice versa.
Sure,
just say it.
Sure,
because I've never read the book.
So this movie starts out with a what would you call it? A flash forward. It shows the aftermath.
Oh yeah, you know what it reminded me of when I saw that was Don't Make a Sound or whatever, or Lights Out or
Don't
something.
Breathe?
Don't Breathe. It reminded me of Don't Breathe.
Oh, yeah, Don't Breathe did do that. Yeah.
That's how I was like, right away when I saw that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand if...
Well, I thought, knowing that it was... I didn't know it was a flash forward until we got to the end of the movie. I thought it was like kind of like, oh, this is how these people got the house because somebody got murdered in it, and so now the house is for sale.
Oh, okay.
So it tricked me.
So I was thinking, like, for the people that were a fan of the novel or the original movie, like, this would show them that, okay, so we're kind of going to this is where we're going to end up. We're going to end up in the general vicinity, so it's not going to be too different from the things that you love, like the movie and book that you love. Like, we're not straying too far from there. Kind of like an assurance that this movie is going to be, like,
okay,
for the fans.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Sure.
What do they call those? A fan pleaser, fan service? Fan service?
Fan service, yeah.
Yeah. That was kind of my idea. But as like a general movie-going attendee, moviegoer, I was thinking, like, why are you showing a flash forward?
Yeah, because, like, I haven't seen Pet Sematary since, like, late 90s, early 2000s. And so I don't remember it very well. And I never read the book.
You're talking into the mic from way over there.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, so I just like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And then we get the family moving in, right?
Yep, you got the Lewis family. Now this, they're from Boston in this new movie. And in the book and the original movie, they're from Chicago. I believe in the original movie they're from Chicago. But yeah, this new one they're from Boston. And there are certain aspects of that that changes, not too much, but it doesn't really affect too much, but it's just a little bit of change from the original and all that. Family's exactly the same. Gage is the young toddler. Ellie's the 12-ish year old daughter. Rachel the mom. Lewis is the dad, who is a doctor.
And so they've moved out here to slow down their life. It seems like maybe their marriage might have been on the rocks a little bit. She's got her own inner demons that she's dealing with that he hasn't really been able to address with her, it seems like, because of his job. He's a surgeon, like an ER surgeon or something like that. He's like and so they move out here, and he takes on a new role, and he's hoping it'll be a lot calmer experience.
Yeah, he's got a job at the college. So yeah, that's the same throughout. Like, that's the reasoning in the book. They just want to slow down the fast pace.
And so
lifestyle.
They're moving in the house. Things seem okay. They have a cat. And,
yep. What is the cat's name? Shit.
No, it's not shit. It's we're gonna call him Mr. Sprinkles until we remember.
Okay.
So he starts his first day at his new job, and he comes in and they're like, "Hey, doctor, I'm glad you're here. You got a strep throat test in room 1." But then some girl comes running in on his first day with blood on her, and she's like, "His brains or something." He's like, "What?" Then they bring this kid in, and he got hit by a car. And they do kind of foreshadow. They show how these semis dive bomb this road all the time.
Yep.
But
when they moved into the house, they meet the neighbor Judd.
Yep, Judd.
John Lithgow, who he does a decent job, but the original Judd from the original movie was just perfect. Like, that is the character. That actor is Judd, and just nothing, no other, I can't see any other actor doing that role. No.
So, this kid gets brought into the hospital, and he was like drilled by some car really bad. His brains are coming out, and like the nurse is like, his brains are coming out, and doctor's like, go get me this stuff now. But it was too late, and the kid dies. But right after he dies, he the doctor's like, Lewis is like washing up, and like he turns around and dude's standing up. He goes, you tried to save me, so I'm not, let me try to save you, is something along those lines. He goes, stay away from the some things. What did he say? He said something. They're not meant to go over the barrier or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, you know why he says that? What we see before this scene, though, is the little girl goes out and she sees the kids bringing a pet. They see the kids bearing a pet. She sees the kids bearing a pet.
So it's like a congregation,
a procession of the kids getting ready to bury a pet.
They're all wearing like animal masks, and that part specifically, I do like more than the original and the book. Just that imagery of the kids, because in the book and in the original movie, all you're kind of told is that the kids use that as a burial ground.
Sure.
Like there's never any sort of, they don't see any kids ever going there to bury pets, whatever. But in this one, you do see the kids going there. At
some point, though, the girl gets bored and goes back over there, and she's gonna she's getting whispered to, so she's gonna climb over this berm of like brush and like animal bones. But then she like falls and gets like a bee sting or something, and then John Lithgow takes care of her, and she kind of befriends him and kind of sparks his life back up. He's got like a little fire under his ass now to whatever. Then we get the scene about this, and he says something like, don't go over the berm. And then he has like a vision. Then he goes home and like tells his wife, he's like, he knew my name and blah, 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 because he says his name.
Oh, Pascal.
Pascal does, yeah.
Yeah.
And what's his name? Victor?
Victor Pascal.
Pascal, yeah. And so so then we move on from there. And
so this Victor Pascal, I like the actor, does a fine job, all that. But one of the things like that's to me iconic is his red gym shorts. Like that's both in the book and the original movie. There's just something about the kid wearing his red gym shorts, like I don't know that, and in this one he's just got normal street clothes on. Nothing particularly, nothing stands out about him at all.
Red gym shorts.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying. Let's see. So she hangs out. The old man Judd comes over for dinner with everybody, and she shows them all her ballet moves. And say thanks, and he's like, thanks for having me over for dinner. I haven't had dinner with anybody in such a long time, and blah blah blah. They talk a little bit about his wife and this and that, and then
which is a major change from the book.
Yeah, because apparently they don't talk about, the first movie they don't talk about his wife at all, right?
No, not at all, not even a mention. And in the book, she's a living character.
Oh,
she's alive, and she's got bad arthritis, and they actually become relative. I mean, the thing with the book is Judd and Lewis become very close. Like, Lewis views Judd almost as like a father figure, and in both these movies, you never really get that.
This is something I've noticed with Stephen King movies. Is there seems to be a really big emphasis on fathers, at least in what I've heard about Pet Sematary, and I read The Shining, and you completely lose all of that in these movies.
Yeah.
You, like, those characters are completely lost. Like, Jack Torrance is like, that movie's great. I love that movie. But I could see where he would be frustrated. Like, they completely, like, missed, like, that whole thing about him, like, when he goes crazy and how he kind of goes crazy, and like what happens at the end, like the ending of that movie compared to the book. It's like they completely lose that character a little bit, and so completely a little bit, I don't know, but
Yeah.
So like they same with this is like I wonder if there's I want to read more Stephen King.
Yeah.
I want to see if there's like a common theme with like this thing with dads. You know, it's like these last two that I was part. You know, like I read The Shining, watched The Shining, and then this. You know.
Yeah, and it's kind of integral. The Judd's wife character is kind of integral to the plot because she ends up dying in the book, and that's what introduces Ellie the concept of death. They have that conversation about death.
Sure. Because in the book or in this movie, the concept of death comes out because they're talking about Lewis's wife's sister.
Yeah, Zelda. And in the original movie, there's a caretaker or like kind of like a babysitter, housekeeper type character who is also in the book. But in the original movie, she ends up she has like stomach cancer or something, so she ends up committing suicide, hanging herself because she can't deal with the pain anymore. Never dies in the book. But so in the original movie, that's how the concept of death is introduced to Ellie.
Okay.
And in the book, they actually Lewis and Rachel actually get in a major fight about the way that Lewis explains death to Ellie.
Yeah. They kind of get into it.
They kind of in this movie,
not into a big fight, but they kind of like don't like where they both were going about it.
And in the original movie, I think Lewis is actually the one that gets mad at Rachel, but it's literally like he walks out the door and they're fine again. Like she comes back outside and they're fine. But in the book, it's like a pretty major fight.
Oh, okay, sure. So she's like, look, and
so that's the thing. Like it all has a purpose. Like they have a fight because Rachel never tells Lewis about Zelda.
Yeah. And he's trying to get her to open up about it, help her.
Yeah. So we do start to get more of that in this movie.
Rachel's sister Zelda had some kind of spinal deformity.
Spinal meningitis?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Not meningitis. Maybe. In any case, she can't move well, and she's stuck to her bed, and and Rachel was terrified of her because her sister would say mean things like, you know, I wish you were like this, and blah blah blah.
And she just looked. She almost looks like a zombie, like
because she's like
all twisted up and
like I don't
got a weird skin tone and
she looks like almost like she's been drowned almost even like she don't but like that like kind of pallid look to it, but she's got like spasticity issues with like her muscles and stuff, and she can't move right, and so Zelda's what's her sister's name? Rachel's scared of her because of like something that happened where she had to go get her dinner, but she was too scared to go up there, so she put it in this dumbwaiter, and she wasn't supposed to use the dumbwaiter because it doesn't always work. We'll leave it at that because I think this comes up later, and it's more important later, or should we talk about what happens with the dumbwaiter?
Let's get the Zelda story. Yeah, let's cover the Zelda story.
Okay, so she puts the food up there, and you hear her like clunking around up there, and she's scared. Then you hear her like scream, and you hear like the dumbwaiter drop, and it pops open, and the like you see the food just fall.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, okay. Then you see Zelda's body come down this thing, and then she's got to leave. And is that how she dies?
Not in the book. She ends up choking in the book.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought that was kind of dumb just because, like, why?
Jump scare.
Why is Zelda... First of all, she's not supposed to be able to move very well, so how is she getting up, climbing into the dumbwaiter? Like, first of all, why is she... Maybe she wanted to kill herself, but otherwise, like, why is she getting into the... Yeah, why is she... Fucking... Yeah.
The food by itself was good enough.
Yeah, for sure.
And I thought that would have been effective, you know, with whatever, and maybe her parents lay into her because of it, you know, or you know, maybe that's when she chokes or something. I don't know. But in any case, that's the Zelda story, and the mother is like struggling with this, and so she believes in heaven and blah blah blah. Lewis doesn't because he's a scientist type and whatever. Then what do we get to next?
Oh, the cat dies.
Yeah, Halloween. Judd goes and grabs Lewis. He's like, "Hey, come here," and it's like, "Oh shit, the cat." So they're like, "Okay," and Judd's like feels terrible because he loves Ellie because she's like a brightness in his dark life kind of a thing, and so they go trick or treating, and he's like, "Come back come back tonight," blah blah blah. Then we get our first little glimpse of how things come back.
Yeah, they go to bury the cat. This is driving me
Cemetery.
nuts that we can't think of the cat's name.
Let's look it up.
Yeah, you look it up. They go to bury the cat in the pet cemetery, but then Judd starts getting like voices. I don't think literally. I don't think you hear.
Victor comes out and says, "You know, if you're gonna lose everything." He says something along the lines like, "You're about to lose everything. I'll let me, you know."
Yeah, but Judd is hearing something else, and it's like calling him. And so he kind of looks over, and he's like, "Oh no, like, let's go this way." And so they decide to go, or Judd gets Lewis to go over the Church, yes.
Which is funny. I knew a person with a cat named Church, but they named it after one of the characters from that Red versus Blue.
Okay. The Halo?
Yeah.
So yeah, they go over the berm, and they get to a big rock staircase.
They go up there.
There's a spiral of like
Stones? Bones?
what do you call those?
Cairns?
Cairns.
Yep. And he gives him instructions of what he needs to do with this cat.
He's the one that has to bury it.
If he's the one that has to bury it, he's got to do it this way and blah, blah, blah. And then he says, "I knew you could do it." And then they leave.
Yep.
And then Ellie's, they're trying to explain what happened with Ellie with the cat. Oh, your cat ran away. She goes, "What are you talking about? He was at my window last night." And they're like, "What?" And then they see the bloody footprints, and then it's like, okay, the cat looks like it had been hit by 18 trucks. And so the cat's back, and they're like, "Okay, well, that's weird." And
starts hissing at Lewis.
yeah, it's definitely acting weird, growling and stuff.
Yeah.
It's acting weird.
So that's a big difference from the book.
I remember we talking about this. In the book, the cat doesn't act weird.
No, well, it doesn't act hostile.
It's just like kind of duh.
Yeah, and it kind of like bumps into
lethargic
walls
and
and walks all funny, but it's never hostile towards anyone.
I think that's better. That it's not hostile. This movie.
Well, and that's a great point because it shows Lewis that, okay, so things come back, but they're not
perfect.
They're not evil.
No. Yeah, because if I had a cat that came and I put it in this thing and it came back and it was like just a little lethargic and it couldn't control its motor functions very good, and my kid, everybody knows the kid gets hit by the truck and he goes and buries the kid. In the movie, it's like, well, I would bury my kid. It's like, it's going to come back, and if it doesn't work very well, I'll go get it some leg braces or do something like this.
Right.
But if the cat, it was, bury this cat. Cat goes back, and it's fucking evil. I'm not going to put my kid in there.
Yeah.
I mean.
So, yeah, that kind of, ruins a whole lot of, thematically. The hopes of, an eternal life after death.
Yeah, because that to me is a much more realistic fix than my daughter or son might come back evil, but I can fix it. My son or daughter might come back with motor problems or something. That I can fix that.
So the only thing in the book that does happen is that it progressively kills bigger animals. It starts bringing in mice. And then it eventually brings in a big crow.
Sure.
So that's the only thing that like it does differently. But he makes a point of like, so there's a whole thing where he has to get the cat church spayed or neutered, neutered, because it's a boy cat, and he's like, he doesn't want the cat to lose its like male, I don't know, nature, whatever. Sure. So then he's thinking like, oh, maybe he's just finally getting some of his natural instincts back, like killing animals, whatever. Yeah. So it's almost like he views it as almost a good thing that he's doing this, as opposed like
just justifying something.
Yeah, he's trying to justify. He's
justifying the fact that he just did some black magic ritual.
Yes, exactly.
So what do we got? So what? Oh, so no, the cat swipes her.
Yep.
And does he kill the cat then? I'm trying to remember what happens.
No, the cat runs away, or yeah.
Oh, he lets the cat go. He boxes the cat and lets the cat go.
That's
this
right.
Is what happened. So then they tell her that the cat ran away, and she's super sad at her birthday party. Yes. And so she's at her birthday party. She's super sad because the cat left, but then Daddy makes her feel better. Mm-hmm. Then they're like, okay, everybody, let's play hide and seek. So they're all running around. And then you see the cat start coming down the street.
Yes.
And you're like, well, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens first is the little boy is going out there.
He starts to like move towards the road.
Yep. And then she sees the cat and she runs out for it.
Yep.
And then Gage is out there and they see the truck coming. So Jason Clark Lewis just starts running and he's
like, Gage, stop.
And so he dives, grabs Gage and rolls and saves him, but the truck jackknifes, the back comes off and like hits
Ellie
and sends her flying, and then he's kind of in shock, and Rachel goes around and sees, and you just see her fall because she's in shock, and then he goes over and he's like upset really bad. The next scene is them burying her. And Judd's there. This scene I thought was cool though, because like they're burying her and they're crying, and you see Lewis look at Judd and Judd look at him, and you know exactly what they're thinking.
Yep.
And Judd's like, you can tell he's like, don't do it, you know. And so now we get to a place now where.
So yeah, that, I mean, if it wasn't ruined in the trailers, that was a big
shift.
Like what is the saying for that? Like expectations, like
I don't know what you're talking about.
When it defies expectations.
Oh yeah, defying expectation?
No, that's not like the saying though.
Oh.
I don't know.
Subverting
expectations.
Okay.
I maybe that's it. I don't know.
So basically, people are expecting the little boy to be the person that would
yeah.
But actually, in this movie, they change it to the girl.
Yes, because Gage is such a iconic, like when he cuts the Achilles tendon and Judd,
and that boy just looking creepy.
Yeah. And that's the final boss battle too in the original movie. Gage.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so they went with the girl this time.
Yes.
That's the difference in the book and the movie?
The death scene. Oh, yeah, Gage is hit by the truck in the book.
That's what I assumed.
The semi, it sucks that they could not use an actual semi jackknifing.
There's two scenes in this movie where I'm just like, holy shit, green screen much. The scene where they bury the cat, and that whole thing looked like that was done completely indoors.
Yeah.
And then the scene with that semi was almost as bad as I think it's called Drive Angry with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, yep.
With that really bad truck CGI. It was almost that bad, but...
and oh man, it just sucks because even in the original movie, I think they used an actual truck like hitting the kid.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they didn't show as much. They didn't show the kid actually like the impact, but they at least had the truck.
Yeah, down the road.
And I think the truck crashes, but yeah, they totally CGI'd truck. And my disappointment was just But in any case, plus no blood on a tiny bit of blood
on the railing or on the ladder on the back of the truck.
On the back of the truck.
Yep. Or the front of it because it jackknifed, and so
sure
the would go on top of the tanker. You can see blood there.
But okay, so this kid gets creamed at
school.
No,
at
like
college,
60,
and he's like.
Yeah,
he's missing half.
So
his
they
face.
obviously don't have a problem with gore, but this semi.
Do you know why?
Huh?
Because imagine if she looked like that, and then they buried her, and she came back looking like that.
Yeah,
that's why they did that.
Okay, so we'll get to that, but
that's my guess. Is they probably. If you get reanimated the way you died, if she was like mangled and like half her face was missing after the accident, well, burying her and she's coming back with half of her face, kind of a thing. That would be my guess as to why they.
Yeah, because I would assume that if you got nailed by a semi-tanker at high speeds, there wouldn't be too much left of you.
So my thing is when. The truck jackknife, so he's braking at jackknife, so it would slow down quite a bit, and then it's sliding across the pavement, so it's gonna there's more friction slowing it down. So I'm wondering if it was like neck break or like severe traumatic brain injury that kills her, as opposed to something else. I mean, because just the way it looks like, kind of like it's probably like a traumatic brain injury that killed her. It'd be my guess.
I suppose.
But like I don't know really. Like I mean, because I've heard that like they go to like motorcycle accidents on the highways with shovels. I mean, it's just those accidents are so bad, and so I don't know, but like, so I don't know what that should have looked like, but I think I know why it didn't look as bad as you think it should, because they need her to be fully formed when they bring her back to life. That'd be I think that's probably why, because I don't know what that would look like otherwise. And I hope I never.
So Lewis decides he's gonna go dig up the body and bury her in this pet cemetery.
Yep.
Now this is a major difference in the book, because.
Well, 1 second. So in this one, what happens is. He sends the family off because the mother can't handle being in the house. And then he hangs out with Judd, and he drugs Judd because he thinks Judd is going to try to stop him from doing what he's going to do.
Yeah.
So then he drugs Judd. Judd passes out. He goes, gets the girl, then buries her at the Pet Sematary mountain.
Right.
And then, so what's different then?
Okay, it skips. The original movie kind of has some of this, but there's this whole deal with Lewis and Rachel's dad. Rachel's dad does not like Lewis at all. Like, thinks that he's not good enough, blah, blah, blah. And so at Gage's funeral and Rachel's funeral in this new movie, no, it's not in this new movie. But in the original movie and in the book, Rachel's dad ends up getting in a fight with Lewis and like punching him and knocking stuff over. And that's he sends Rachel to the parents because he knows that will work, and he knows that the dad will like that because he'll think like, oh, okay, I'll get my daughter closer.
Yeah. So in this movie, what they do is he's driving back with him, and they seem to have a better relationship. But then they get to his farm, and there's those people poaching on his land. So the dad comes out with that shotgun and starts shooting at these guys, and Lewis is like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And well, then they get over and they see that there's this like fawn or whatever, and so he shoots it. And he goes, "Sometimes you just gotta be a man," and that line seems to stick with Lewis in the new movie, and so that's what he kind of like takes with him when he goes to put Ellie in the Pet Sematary mountain.
So then the whole digging up the body, In the book, it is an ordeal. Like he goes at night. He's like scouting everything out. He thinks he sees cars, and then there's this giant fence all around the cemetery, and he has to like climb up a tree. And
in this movie, just threw a shovel over a wall.
Yeah,
and
so
over it.
that's we were talking about this earlier. And I was wondering, like, was that like an in joke? Just the way he tosses the shovel over
think
and like
because it's a movie.
Yeah,
they went with this route because trying to capture his I think to capture that in on film would just be boring. It's like, oh great, he's climbing up a tree.
Sure,
blah, blah, blah.
sure.
Because you can't convey the pain that Stephen King will write along with this. You know, you can't capture that on film,
right?
And that would be my guess.
Yep.
So yeah,
gets Ellie's body.
Yep.
Goes and buries her.
Yep. Then so Rachel's at home and she can't sleep because she keeps having and she's drinking, and then Gage starts crying because he sees Victor again because Victor's telling him, you gotta go home, you gotta go home, you gotta go home.
Yeah.
So she starts heading home and she's calling Lewis trying to get a hold of him, but she can't get a hold of him. So she calls Judd. Judd goes over and he sees because when Lewis gets home, then Ellie shows up later. And so then they get in bed together and he like gives her a bath and she seems kind of out of it.
She is phenomenal. The actress.
She did that so
they
good.
had I don't know if it was makeup or like a slight like CGI thing they did with her face, her eye.
Yeah, it looked like she had almost like she's got Bell's palsy is what it looks like.
Yeah, almost like a droopy eye.
The one eye is drooped down a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
From like the
oh my god, it was so good.
And you can see that she's like already not all the way there.
Yeah,
and Lewis is like, okay, this is something, but he's sleeping next to his daughter and he's happy. And then he tells so the wife, he's trying to call him and she's not getting it. So she calls Judd. Judd heads over and he's like, hey, what's going on? Your wife's trying to get a hold of you. I know what you did and you shouldn't have done it. But they kind of get into it. And then he sees Ellie up in the window. He's like, oh, shit. And she's like, oh, he's going to be a problem for me.
Yeah.
So she grabs a knife and sneaks out of the house. And Judd's doing something. And then she goes over and Judd gets his gun ready, and he's going, and he knows, he's like, I know you're in here, because he figures out that she got in.
He's going up the stairs, and there's a shot of like his ankles, like from in between the steps.
Yeah.
And so it gives you that, oh, here it comes. Here's
the
Achilles tendon.
Oh. And he gets to the point where he's at the bed, and you're like, oh, and then he kicks the bed, and it's like, oh,
nothing there.
And then he walks back downstairs and gets his ankles cut.
Yep.
And then she stabs him a bunch of times.
Yep.
And then so she goes back, and then I think the family shows up, and it's like, see, it's your daughter, and she goes, that's not my daughter, and you see that the daughter's
there's a really creepy scene of Ellie like dancing. Because she's
like knocking shit over.
Yeah, she was a dance. I mean, she did dance in her past life.
But she's definitely more aggressive now.
Yeah.
She looks like she's in a mosh pit.
It was
and
such
then Lewis
like
yells at her.
The entire movie, like once Ellie comes back to life, like I thought was just so well done, specifically because of that actress. Playing Ellie.
Yeah. So and like she's immediately aggressive, and then like mommy doesn't like her, and she realizes that, and then it gets to a point where they can't handle it anymore, and the mother's gonna leave or something, and she's like, nope, and you're not leaving, and then she like goes after the mom and the son, and Lewis is outside. Oh, Lewis sees.
No, they leave Gage in the car.
No. So what happens is, does Lewis see? Lewis goes over to Judd's and finds him dead, and then starts running back to the house. But at this point, Ellie is attacking the family. So Rachel grabs Gage, drops him out the window to Lewis because he gets back.
That's right. Yeah.
Lewis puts him in the car, and then to stop him, and then he sees that his wife was stabbed and stuff, but he grabs her. No, that's not what happens. He goes up to check his wife, and she's like, no, she's behind her. And then she whacks him, drags him out.
Before she whacks him, doesn't Rachel go like, don't let me be buried there or something like that?
Yeah, she said, don't let them bury me there, because he explains what had happened at some point.
Yeah.
But so then Ellie drags him out. Then they kind of get in a tussle, and he gets the upper hand. He's about to. No, that's not what happens. Now I remember. Ellie bashes his head in, and he passes out. She drags Mom to the place and buries her there.
That's right.
Then he meets her at the pet cemetery, fights her, is about to stab her and kill her, and then he's about to stab her with the shovel.
Ellie.
Yeah, he's about to stab Ellie with a shovel.
Yep.
But then he gets a stop sign thing through his back, and he gets buried. And then the last scene of the movie
is them walking back to the car
to see Gage, and they're gonna kill
one
Gage.
happy family.
One happy zombie family.
Yep.
So
all that he lights the fire in Judd's house, light the house on fire. Yeah. Pretty much all of that is brand new.
Sure.
In this adaptation. I won't even bother going into the book and original movie because that.
Yeah, don't actually, because I might actually get that on Audible and read it.
Yeah.
Because I'm interested in seeing what they did differently. As far as this movie goes, and how it all led up to it, for the most part, I thought it was okay. There were some things, some CGI. I was like, "Ooh, that's bad."
Ellie's death. That was a big disappointment.
Yeah.
Not because it was Ellie and not
Sure.
Gage. I actually think that ended up working in its favor.
Yeah.
But just the effects and. Yeah, it was just disappointing.
Yeah, I actually think having it be her is a little more scary than having it be Gage, honestly, with how little he was.
Well, yeah, and you can see that in the original movie, how hokey it is. Like, the Achilles tendon scene, like, that's forever, like, one of my most, like, to this day, like, I get weary of, like, my bare ankles, like, being out there like under the bed and like all that. So that part at least was effective, but the rest of that Gage is just kind of silly. When you see it visually,
especially if you watch Kindergarten Cop before you saw Pet Sematary, it's like, hey, it's the kid that said boys have a penis and girls have a vagina from Kindergarten Cop. But no, I think for the most part though, the movie was enjoyable. I thought they did the shots and everything were really good. The acting was really good. I thought the Rachel character was really good. I thought Ellie did a great job. I like Jason Clarke's face. Like, he's just got a really good face for being serious. Like, he's just got this look where he's very easy to take seriously.
Yeah.
I liked John Lithgow because I like John Lithgow.
I liked him too. He just is not as good as the original Judd.
I get that, but I'm okay. Like, if they were gonna have anybody replace that guy, John Lithgow. And so there's a movie that you got to see with John Lithgow where he plays a killer. But the movie's it's not in it very much. But
I think I've seen that. I've seen a movie with John Lithgow when he had
John Travolta.
When he had red hair.
Oh no, this is a movie with John Travolta and can't remember the girl's name, but it's called
maybe
Blowout.
I'm thinking of.
It's a movie's called Blowout. That movie is so good. We could probably. It's like a suspense throw. We could watch that.
Maybe I'm thinking of the dad from That 70s Show, Red.
Oh yeah, Red. He was in RoboCop.
Yeah.
But so I think it was good. I think the sound was good, music, all this, everything about that needs to make a movie I thought was really good.
Yeah.
Thought the acting was good.
I liked it better than It.
Yep, I liked it better
than pretty
than
much any Stephen King adaptation.
Yep, I liked it better than
past decade.
Yep, I liked it. Nope.
No?
Nope, there's a way better Stephen King adaptation than this movie.
What's that?
It's leaps and bounds better, and you're about to get a big old fat Flanagan boner because it's Gerald's Game.
Oh. Obviously.
But yeah, so no.
We still have to watch Sleepwalkers.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. No, I liked it. But I think I don't know how I felt about that ending with the zombie family.
Yeah. I don't know. It.
How does it happen in the book? I do want to know that.
So he kills Gage. Then I think he does set fire to Judd's house.
And then
there's this whole ordeal where like there's this other person that's following Lewis out while he's bringing his wife out to bury her, but he ends up getting away from that person and buries his wife. And then he's just like, I think he makes up a story for the police. And then he's just like sitting in his kitchen and his wife shows up and puts her hand on his shoulder. And can't remember what she says, but then it's just like over. So it doesn't
resolve.
Doesn't resolve, no.
I like that ending better than the zombie family one.
Mm-hmm. And of course, in the original movie, she ends up. It's basically the same, but she is holding a knife, and yeah. So this is sort of that's kind of in between the no closure and this movie where they're a big happy zombie family.
I would have preferred that out.
It kind of takes the serious tone of the movie and makes it more of like, oh, look at this they're zombies now. It's a zombie family.
Or whatever it is. Like what they could have done is like, when he gets shanked or whatever, the scene could have been just mom getting in the car with Gage and smiling at him, and that ends it. You don't. There's no resolution or anything. You just kind of don't know what happens. And fine, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
So, seal of approval.
Seal of approval, definitely.
Yeah, I'll give it that. Bronze? No, I'd give it as high as a silver. I'd say.
I'd go silver as well, just because of Ellie's performance. Let me get her name once again.
Yeah, Ellie's performance is gold. As a gold performance.
Jete Lawrence.
She herself gets a gold.
Yes.
She gets a gold.
I would even go platinum for her.
Yeah, fine. I'll go with you on that. Mm-hmm. She gets a platinum for her performance, which brings that movie to a silver.
Yes.
So here's what happens. Her performance brings that movie to a gold. The ending brings it back down to a silver.
I like your logic there. The man upstairs also gave it a seal of approval. He went bronze.
Bronze, yep.
But yeah, I think silver.
I think we were both
2-1.
She was so convincing.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't seem like a child actor being a fucking child actor.
Not at all.
She's like classically trained actress. Like, she was convincing. She terrified me. Like, she scared the shit out of me. Like, watching her like get meaner and meaner.
Yeah.
Like, and then like when she'd have the scenes where she'd say shit like your mom's, when she would like turn into Judd's wife and shit, and like say things for her, and like your sister's here, kind of like, the Exorcist kind of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole the dancing and knocking stuff over, and then that first night when she's laying in bed with Lewis, and Lewis kind of like lays back and closes his eyes, and she's like staring at him.
Yeah.
With her droopy eye. Oh, so good.
Yeah, that was convincing.
So yeah, seal of approval, silver. Go see it. Highly recommended.
Yeah, go see it. That's good.
Yeah. Get at us on Twitter. Let us know what you thought of Pet Sematary. And
the favorite part of that night though was walking in to the burial ground.
Yeah.
Like preview and seeing the woman go, Michael. Oh my god.
Twitter at Scream Fiends. Let us know what you thought of Pet Sematary remake and The Headhunter. 7voltmedia.com, iTunes, Google Play, past episodes. Look for us every week. ish.
I think we're gonna be more consistent.
Yeah. But otherwise, from us at Stream Fiends.
At least every other week for sure.
So
I want to
long
get some Gloomhaven in.
and farewell.
See ya. Bye.